Hi, welcome to the Freeman Conversations. I'm Jobert Alcal, the online editor of the Freeman, and this is another edition of Power Women, our way of paying tribute to women who are not afraid to make a difference. And we are here in the studio live with four incredible, motivated, and successful women. And we are very glad that they said yes to be here today. These are members of JCI Zugbuana, or this is the Junior Chamber International Zugbuana. And I'd like to introduce each one of them, starting with their president, who has just been inducted into office last January. We have May Jo Abellana. She's the president of JCI Zugbuana, as at the same time manager of Pro Life. And to her left is Bridget Lim, a businesswoman. She operates their own family business, Island Central Mall and Jerry's Grill. Yummy food, I should say. and of course, to my right is another member of JCI Zugbuana, former president of the Queen City Toastmasters and owner of her own jewelry line, Josine Ara Ambetic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, to Josine's right is Charmaine Lumabas, another JCI member, JCI Zugbuana member, and owner of Paul Sphinx Studio and Bing's Pharmacy. Thank you very much to all of you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Jover. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Madam President. Bridget, thank you very much. And well, we just celebrated Women's Month last month in March, but as they say, we shouldn't celebrate women only in March. So that's why you're here for the Power Women series. And you're here also primarily because you are women who are not afraid to make a difference in your own careers and in the community. In fact, you're here because you're members of JCI Zugbuana. First of all, I'd like to ask you how you define the modern day woman. Maybe we can begin with the president.
Okay.
Should it be like that in JCI?
Well,
we always begin with the president.
It's a protocol. Okay, well, I'll do the honors to begin. How do I define a modern day woman?
Yes.
Okay.
Or a modern day Zugbuana, if you must.
Okay. I'll speak from my own definition based on my own experience. I should say that a modern Cebuana or modern Filipina is somebody who knows what she wants and puts her heart into it. And at the same time, as she continues to experience life, to aspire, she gets to inspire others as well. So the growth doesn't stop from just within, but it also radiates from the outside. Through her experiences, there's no such thing as mistake. It's only like the learning curve. And as she climbs up to the ladder of success, she goes down, keeps grounded, and brings people up together with her. And she understands that it's really lonely to be successful up there if it's just going to be you. You don't throw the ladder away and you don't those people down, but you show them how you're able to build yourself up by building people up.
And I just learned today, just this afternoon, that May Jo is the sister
Attorney Ian.
of one of our columnists in the Freeman, Attorney Ian. Hello, Attorney Ian.
Hello, Kuya. I did tell you.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
Let's go to Bridget. Your thoughts?
I think a modern woman lives an authentic life. So she knows how to express herself in an authentic manner, meaning she knows she's asked the right questions, and then she knows the answers, specifically what her purpose is for existing. Okay, I think right now there's a lot of distractions in our lives. Now women need to find our voice. Well, we already have the inner voice, but what we need to do is find how to express our inner voice and how to be of service to others in this world. So a modern woman for me is someone who's compassionate, someone who stands by her values, someone who inspires others, like what President Joe just said, and someone who's not afraid to be courageous and to express herself. Yeah.
We'll get back to that in a while. Let's go to the others. Josine, Madam President. I should call you Madam President still because you were once my president.
Oh, thank you, and you were once mine.
Go ahead.
Empowered woman. Empowered women are the women of today, with integrity, with credibility, with their core values, true to themselves, unshakable in their beliefs and their ideals, yet soft enough to hone themselves to what changes around them. They're they're like water, they're like the wind, perpetually changing, growing, and inspiring, enlightening, and humble enough to learn new things, and humble enough to know their limitations and grow from there. Yes.
Definitely.
Nice.
But they said everything already, my
Exactly. Now the pressure is building up because everybody just defined
just
this
said
word.
more so higher, like
There you go.
girls.
Do I need to say more? Everything was said
What
already.
they
Go ahead,
said.
go ahead.
What they said.
Equal opportunities.
So I'd like to say that basically modern day women right now have the same, like equal, they can make this equal choices with men. So I don't think we're not in a very complicated situation right now that we're just put inside a house, that we're just made into housewives. Not that being a housewife is a bad thing,
I
but
think it's great.
right now
Yeah.
we're more given the opportunity to choose the path we want, career-wise, love-wise, personal growth-wise. So more choices for us.
Hell yes, yeah.
And if I may point out the commonality, common answers. Commonalities in your answers is that a modern day woman is unafraid to make decisions for herself,
Yeah.
to make choices.
Yeah.
At the same time, she's not afraid to share herself
Yes.
with others.
Yes.
Despite, of course, many things have changed since many years ago. Now, as she has mentioned, the women are not limited within the four walls of the house.
Yeah.
So more opportunities have been given to women. What do you think are the challenges that women still continue to face today despite these opportunities?
I think it's about the social stigma. Like what you mentioned a while ago, women are put in a box. But then, whether we like it or not, there are still very traditional values that most people adhere to. And I think it's all about the society at which you are. If you are placed in the right society for you to thrive, for you to be heard, and for you to grow. So I think Cebu, for that matter, I think it's for the lack of a better term, it's a lukewarm society in the sense that some people are still holding back, yet some people are already growing.
For example, what are these values, for example, that continue to penetrate modern day society, that hold women back?
Being the traditional Maria Clara, not that I'm against that, but then some people are just too conservative, like to the point of being held back of what they want to achieve. Like many parents still control their children about what degree to pursue in university because they want a certain lifestyle, they want a certain background, they want a certain income bracket for their children.
They want to plan their lives.
Exactly, and people are just different. We're all born different, and then I think diversity in that matter should be celebrated in every way. It doesn't mean if I earn less, I'm less important than you. It doesn't mean that you have better clothes or better connections in the society. It means that you have more substance than I do.
Exactly.
You know?
Do you agree with the president?
Yeah, definitely.
From one president to another.
Definitely, yeah, I agree with that. But you know, our situation now as women has really vastly improved. If you look way a few years, not just few years ago, long time ago, we already have access to education. Last month I went to the Senate. No, because I was part of the committee in selecting the outstanding young men and women of the Philippines of 2017. So as I see, there were lady senators who were there, and as I was observing when they did their session, they were very proactive. They speak there, they make their motion, and they do vote. So there's already like an improvement. A lot has a lot has happened in terms of women empowerment. And I also believe that it's because of the influence that we of those strong women, probably like, actually I should say like us, that it has inspired other women to step up and not compete with men, but co-create a good life.
Exactly.
Because I always believe that
Partners.
Yes.
we are partners. This is not competition; it's co-creation.
That's right.
So when you co-create, it's a win-win thing.
Yes.
You're building a better community. You're building a better nation, a better world.
I'll throw this question ahead so you guys can think about it while I ask Bridget to answer the current question. But since President May Jo mentioned the female senators in the upper house, but we only have how many?
Just a few though, but it's an improvement to though. I mean, if you look into 24 before, it's like dominated by probably just like 1 or 2, but now you see more than that.
Yeah.
So it's a transition though. It's not something abrupt, no. There's a transition period, but as long as it gets, you get your numbers, you see growth, then I should say, and then we have sessions such as these, no?
Yeah,
Like a live thing, and then you invite women who are bold enough and courageous enough to express and inspire other women as well. So I see that we're getting there. It's there's a lot of I always look at Manggod, every time I make evaluations on certain projects that we do, I always make sure that there's an area for improvement, because the moment you stop growing, you get a perfect score or something, that's the time you start dying. So there's always you don't look at it as, for me, I don't look at it as a negative. There's always an area to grow, area to improve. And if you have exhausted, I mean, if you have made your tank full in a certain experience, then explore another one. If you have become a master in this, then become a student again for something else.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I love that.
But the question that I actually wanted to ask is this one. Do you guys think, you ladies think that we need more women senators? I let you think. What I give Bridget the opportunity to answer the question that's left hanging. What do you think are the challenges that we still face today?
I think the Filipinos are really lucky because it's not primarily a patriarchal society. It's matriarchal. Like I mentioned to you earlier, that we actually have had 2 heads of states who were women. Yeah, and even America hasn't had that at all. So, and I think there's a big support group for women in the country. And I think one of the major challenges now is how to balance home life and work life. I'm a mom, and there's always that guilty feeling. Am I being a good mom? Am I ignoring my child if I'm at work? So the balance there is how to become a good parent at the same time, how to be successful in my professional career as well.
Because being a mom, I heard, is a full-time job.
Yes, definitely.
It's
and
also the most difficult job in the world.
Yeah, and so like for opportunities, for example, I just learned that it was only last year that women were allowed 120 days of maternity leave. Before that was only 60 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so before that, like even offices, some of them don't even have breastfeeding quarters for moms. And breastfeeding is such a natural state of, feeding your baby, of being a woman.
Not to mention as an important part of.
Definitely, an important part of motherhood. So because a woman's always evolving, and with that our needs evolve as well.
Yes.
So we're learning every day what's important to us, and as a group we come together and we find our voice, and then we find our purpose and our advocacy, and then we fight for that. Yeah, so it's like I love that women are passionate about the environment, are passionate about protecting women's rights. Diba, Gabriela exists, and we have the Magna Carta for women in the Philippines. Yeah, so we have that. We have to just find our voice and then use that. Yeah,
it was a nice point. Major raised earlier about education, women having access to education. Because the good news is that in the Philippines, the World Economic Forum just reported that the gender gap as far as education is concerned has gone way slimmer in the Philippines. So there's more equality as far as access to education is concerned. Do you observe that in Cebu?
Yeah.
Opportunities in education?
Like, we come from an all-girls school anyway, right? So.
Oh, by the way, that's an interesting question. You went to an all-girls school.
Yeah.
Both
Also, Pressmate Joe.
Pressmate Joe and Bridget, did you?
Poet.
What school is this?
St. Teresa's
St.
College.
Teresa's College.
Back then, it was still an all-girls
Yes,
school.
correct. It was an all-girls school. Why did you go to an all-girls school? Was it your choice?
No,
to go there?
it was my grandmother's. Because her kids went there, and people of her generation went there. And apparently, there's a certain reputation about the school. Oh, they want to be identified as.
Yeah.
So they sent us there.
Yeah, but of course, St. Teresa's continues to be one of the best schools that we have.
I agree. Yes.
But was it your choice to go there?
Well, I was still I was 5 years old when I started. I couldn't remember, but I'm thanking my parents for sending me there.
Otherwise, we would have met. We've met. And she's been my best friend for 27 years. So there we go.
Yeah.
I had to interject.
President.
Yeah, elementary, I'm from Mandaue, originally from Mandaue, so the sister school of St. Joseph's Academy. But our elementary years were co-ed. And then pag high school, it's exclusive. It was, of course, it was a choice of parents. To send all of us there, all 6 of us there.
Wow.
Yeah, including attorney.
But
we had to transfer to UP High after grade 6 because exclusive naman at high school. Yeah. So I should say I didn't have the choice because I was young. I was 7 years old. When I had my grade 1. When I started there, I was grade 1. However, I'm still thankful though. The school has also produced empowered people.
Well, empowered. The former governor of Cebu is from SDC, Governor Gwen Garcia, and many other leaders in the city and the province. Okay, but if you had a choice, would you have gone to an all-female school?
No. No. When I went to university, I went to University of Cebu for nursing. I got culture shocked, and the boys were rowdy and they were smelly, and then they were wild. And they were making sit. Uy, baba. Wako na anad, so mura ko na culture shock.
Okay.
And I wasn't close to my male cousins back in the day because most of them are living abroad, and then they were younger than me. So I was shocked. And then if I would have children one day, I would send them to a normal school with boys and girls.
Co-ed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would learn.
The good news is that SDC is now co-ed.
Yeah. To be honest, I have no regrets. If it were still the same, I'd send my kids back there. On the 4th year, I remember I'm always good. I'm always very graceful even under pressure. But it was during the 4th year when the competition was very stiff. And so I belonged to this pilot section, and then I even cried to the point because everything was all projects are all
overwhelming,
stocking up, and then my friend who was the same group as me got her car got robbed, and so all of our projects disappeared. So we had to do it again, and we were able to do it in 3 days. The 1 month work we had, we were able to do it 3 days. Internet was still in the desktop, not with our smartphones. We were still living a very primitive life, and I would primitive life. It was very primitive back then.
Yes, looking back now,
Yeah, exactly. So when I went to San Carlos after my SDC experience, I was very well prepared for it. To be honest, wow, this is college life. It's I guess SDC kind of
honed you, prepared you.
So I didn't change it.
Teachers there can be very demanding.
Very.
I should know.
Thank you.
I should know. I'm one of them.
Preparing you for the future.
I was gonna mention these, but thank you.
Either you love them or hate them, but now you just get to appreciate teachers.
Yeah, our good friend Desiree Balota teaches in SDC.
Yes.
Would you have gone to an all-female school?
Yeah, I would.
If you had a choice?
Yeah, I would. Because I always believe that there is a certain growth in terms of generation.
Okay.
That time, it perfectly went well during my generation, during my time. But for this time, it doesn't necessarily to have the same kind of formula like sending our kids to the same school because I'm into all girls school. So this time, I should say that I'm open to sending my kids to co-ed. Because it's not going to be the same, the same kind of influence and the same kind of environment and the same kind of exposure as what they have now compared to our time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Bridget, how about you?
I went to UP Cebu. I took up political science, and all my life I've been going to co-ed schools. So some of my best friends were boys growing up, so I was a bit of a tomboy. I had short hair, I boxed with boys. So I wouldn't change anything because that made me appreciate both genders, both male and female. So physiologically speaking, we do have differences, but in essence, choosing to live a life of honesty, integrity, has nothing to do with being a guy or a girl.
Values.
That's true. You're either honest, you're either you have perseverance, you're hardworking. It's nothing to do with being a boy or a girl. So growing up, I've always been exposed to women friends, guy friends. I've always been able to balance between both genders. So I'm grateful for that.
Would you have gone to an all-female school?
Give it a try, Rick.
If I were to go back, maybe. But I had so much fun. I had the best teachers, the best friends, the best classmates.
Of course,
So,
UP.
Yeah. UP.
Speaking of values, where do your values come from? It's of course, it's not a rarity these days, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's quite difficult to have women in one circle, and all of them are so empowered. All of them are accomplished, not afraid to speak their mind, like you guys, like you ladies. Where do these values come from?
Well, for me, family. Actually, I believe that your family is the first one that really influences your values formation in your formative years. I always believe that everyone is a leader themselves, because I define leadership as something that, anyone who influences you. So it's somebody you look up to, or it could be unconsciously influenced. Because there's consciously influenced and there's unconsciously influenced. So for me, I got my values from my family, because I belong to a family of 8, like 6 siblings. I'm the youngest. So I should say that's my first influence. Second is school. Once you start grade 1, you spend more time in school rather than with your parents or at home. And I should say that when I belong to a Catholic, if you belong to a Catholic school, your values are also kind of conservative, as how we define it these days. But then again, you get to appreciate the kind of values that they teach you at a young age, and of course with friends, friends. And now I should say that since the world is getting smaller, you get access to different books. I also my values also evolve. Every time I read books, and I see that it has been very helpful to my growth. And at the same time, to those people like Oprah Winfrey, when they speak out, and when they talk about how their stories in their real lives have inspired mga graduates. Sometimes you see them on Facebook, and they are invited for
speakers
for husband exercises. That one. So basically, now you get a lot of sources of how when you say values. For me, it is evolving. It's not just with family, because actually this morning I was with my mom. So sometimes when my mom talks about dai inani na siya, inani, and I was like, ma, di naman applicable dito din sa di. So open-minded. Yeah, so it evolves siya. It evolves. I always tell her, Mom, even if you're way ahead of me, but somehow we actually learn from different generations. And I even learned from my 16-year-old daughter. I learned from my 8-year-old daughter. So it's not just learning from those who are ahead of us, but learning for also younger than us. So for me, values is actually everywhere, as long as you see that you're being influenced in a good way with these people, through books, through mga leaders in the community, and through friends like us here.
Let's go to Charmaine. Where does your empowerment come from?
Well, for one, I grew up in a household full of women. Even our dogs are all women. They're all girls. Yeah, so it's like my dad. I think I'm really sorry, Dad, but for giving you a hard time because we're all girls. So basically, from that, my mom also started the business, the pharmacy business, and it has been in the community for almost 30 years now. Apart from that, I have to add from the experience, apart from what you have said, family, school, friends, it's from the experiences too. I got into an accident 3 years ago, and it has kind of changed a part of me, because although I'm always overthinking, I'm an overthinker, so it's I'm always worry about I should save up to this and that for my future, up until I got into this accident, and then I learned how to live life at the moment. So basically for me, values also with, I have to say, because I never mentioned this, through the studio that I partly owned, it's Pole Sphinx. It's a mixture of aerial arts, performing arts, through pole dancing, through aerial silks and aerial hoops. So you know how it is in our society, the stigma of it being people doing it are strippers because of how. I'm actually pushing it so people will get to know more that it's an art. It's more of gymnastics. It's kind of like CrossFit that brings out the inner confidence in you. So that's my advocacy. But that's part of my advocacy. So it doesn't for as long as you're not stepping on anybody's shoes and
Of course, yeah.
and so and you're doing a good job in making your body look good, feeling good mentally, physically, you're all set. So
It's not something that exclusive to bars.
definitely, and it's even like raised that it has been raised up that it should be part of the Olympics anytime soon. So
My fingers.
Yeah.
What about you, Josine? Since the first time I saw you and met you, you were already very empowered, very outspoken,
Thank you so
very
much.
frank.
Thank you. Well, I got that from my grandfather. He was always telling me, we were brought up in a household wherein he said, don't let people belittle you. Be kind and generous to everybody, but then once they start putting you down, you should assert yourself. And don't be a bully, but don't be bullied. And then it was really... I know, right?
she was a bully back in we had a gang.
Anyway, so like apart from the family values, from the school where we went, from our friends, I got the chance and the privilege to work abroad. I lived in 5 countries. I studied in 4 countries, and then I traveled to more than 6 to 8 countries. And I saw the disparity of how women were treated, how people were treated, how the rich were treated, how the poor were treated. And then a bulk of my values right now really came from these experiences. It really edified my character and made me know my core strength and the things that I need to work on. And these values help me hone myself now, you know. And I'm actually proud of the choices I've made compared to the choices that I did not do. Because whatever I felt was right for me and resonates with my values, I just do it as long as I don't hurt anyone along the way.
Yeah.
And then
You were not afraid to take risks.
really reckless, to be honest. But then
I have to agree on
really
that.
reckless. But here I am, and I'm happy about these choices, you know.
Yeah.
And different cultures made me see the world that we are all actually the same. We all need love, we need understanding, we need solidarity, we need leadership. We need love more than anything. We need laughter. We just need to be human. It's not about the skin color or creed, but then we all have the same starting point in our lives, which is love.
It all boils down to love.
Always.
Let's go to Bridget. Because Bridget received her education from UP. I'm sure UP provided you an environment that allowed you to
Definitely express myself.
express yourself.
Be a critical thinker.
Correct.
Always
Yeah.
question, always question your thoughts and then question them again. So and I come from a family of very strong parents. Like my mom is an inspiration to me. She's a lawyer, and because of her, she's raised we're a family of 4 girls and 1 boy, and all of us are professionals. So coming from UP, that solidified my personality. So in addition to all the things these wonderful women said, family, friends, education, environment, I think now women have access to more information. So I encourage women, people everywhere, to spend 10 minutes a day, just listening, watching YouTube, listen to speakers, listen to people of power, people of influence, because if you learn one new thing a day, that'll make it all worth it.
Correct.
But every day we're learning something new, every day we're evolving, and like what Preston just said earlier, once you stop learning, you stop growing, start dying. So how do you go beyond your circle of influence? So I'm in the Philippines, but I can watch videos of someone in America, someone in Germany talking about things that are valuable to me. So the world is my oyster, and I want to. I'm exploiting that. I'm exploiting that through watching YouTube videos.
Correct. And the world is at our fingertips these days.
Literally,
the
fingertips.
with social media. As long as we say no to fake news.
No to fake, exactly. No to fake news.
Right. I just had to insert it right there.
Hashtag no fake news.
Correct. You ladies are unquestionably accomplished women. My question is, do you think consciously of your gender when you engage yourself into something, or when you do something? Do you consider it as a factor towards success?
Yeah, it's even an advantage.
Always.
Like you can handle yourself when you talk to women, because of course if it's in the opposite sex, sexual harassment.
Yeah.
But to be honest, when you mentioned a while ago about there's this sense of femininity or being sweet, and then there's this fine line between that and being stern and being like just like tough about your decision making, but at the same time be sweet and then that's like the perfect mixture to get a done deal there.
Yes.
Any proposals you can. I think that's a very good advantage for women right there. And I've got a lot of like deals because of how you talk to other people, whether it be a man, a CEO, or like a COO, or so yeah. I think that's an advantage.
How do you charm your way into a deal, for example, but still maintaining the composure, the dignity of womanhood?
First, you have to know what you're dealing with first. Study first what you want, aim for what you want. When it segues, you have to find a way and talk how to talk and then go back to it, because you know how it is, especially with the opposite sex. You keep on talking, and then it segues to another. You need to master how to deal with negotiations, and I've learned that from my mom. Seriously, like I grew up with her since like our pharmacy was like started when I was 8 years old. So I always see her handling like different med reps, sales reps, and I really like it how even if she's mad, she's still smiling. She has this certain composure.
Service personality.
Exactly, like, wow, you're so plastic. But then my mom would say, that's part of it. You don't let what the enemy or the other person know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Give them this facade that you're just smiling. Or sometimes not letting your enemy or the other party give them the impression that you know nothing.
Yeah.
And then boom, you surprise them.
Yeah.
So I think that's the element of how you negotiate. Just play coy with it, and then that's it.
Let's go to President Major.
Okay. For me, I always have this mindset that the beginning of every human being, is a woman, and that you can get that respect based on how you also deal with different people, whether male or female. So, of course, on our end, because we are wired emotional beings, no? We are, as they say, if men are compartmentalized, women are interconnected. Diba? So, but I don't look at it as something like a disadvantage. I always look at it as something that you can actually use in terms of how you live life.
Yeah.
Like if you're an emotional being, be more of an empath.
Yes.
When it comes to emotional, let's say, issues. For example, let's say the people I handle in the office, that's where I come in. But when it comes to about being tough in terms of following office rules, I escalate it to my boss who's a male. So we co-create that harmony by looking into which we are good at. And of course, I mentioned a while ago that for women, we empathize. So if there's like an emotional problem, it's me that's going to handle this part. This person can better open their problems to me in terms of that. But when it comes to following something like the rules
and policies,
so it's going to be my other boss. You handle this.
we all have our strengths.
Exactly. So you just have to look into which you are good at, not leaving your weakness behind, because it also has its purpose.
Correct.
Yes.
And
Keeps us grounded.
and with that, then you can create a harmony that's better placed in the workplace, and in the organization, in the family as well.
Bridget, do you think consciously of your gender as a factor towards success?
I don't. I think of my values, the principles that I live my life by, and I guess my priorities. Like everything I do now is for the future of my baby, and that fuels me, and at the same time it's for the success of my family, and eventually I want to be of service to my community. So I don't think of it like, oh, I'm going to be bad at this because I'm a woman, or I'm going to be good at this because I'm a woman. I think I'm going to excel at this because I choose to excel at it. So that is what I think self-empowerment is. It's not because of gender roles that we play or boxes that we put ourselves in.
Right.
Diba? I think once we put ourselves in boxes, then there's that self-limitation, right? So we don't want to limit ourselves by labels. We
Right.
want to just be free to express ourselves, you know, and then hopefully in that way we get to inspire others. Like I think it's important for like older women to inspire younger women. I think right now the pressure that women face now is the physical pressure. About social media, you see girls like just showing off skins.
Oh,
Yeah, so I want women to know that you are more than your bodies. You know, like you're more than this, you're more than
Good
skin.
point, yeah.
You're divine, you're amazing, you're beautiful. Like our bodies are vessels of life. Like I didn't know this until I got pregnant, and then like my whole body, my whole entirety, my whole being changed, and that it all just came together to give birth this beautiful baby. And after I gave birth, then my body produced milk, you know, to sustain my baby, and then like my whole system got wired to sustain this. So I think women, once we realize how sacred we are, that we go beyond our physical selves, that we can begin to develop other things about ourselves, like emotional well-being, how to be spiritually, how to live a life of high vibration, how to live a life of authenticity.
Very good points. How do we make women realize their value?
How do we make women realize their value? Yeah, well,
Because you've also mentioned earlier that we should avoid stereotypes, right? But unconsciously, we are actually just the ones giving the labels.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, so at one point we are so in tune with social media, but then at the same time, social media makes us feel insecure because then these are lives that we want to have.
Correct.
You know. So how do women empower? I think we empower ourselves by surrounding ourselves with people who love us and accept us. You know, and at the same time realize that we are multifaceted beings, and we can be full expressions of ourselves, not just through our physical bodies. And then keep learning. Okay, but when you learn something new, you feel empowered. When you do something good for the world or for the service of others, you feel good. But when you express compassionate kindness to others, you feel good. So little things that solidify your being and allow you to express love and receive love in return. I think different things.
Good points.
Really good.
What about you ladies? It's well, I should say to a certain extent, you ladies are lucky enough to have these opportunities that you enjoy. But what about those women who don't have the same privileges and opportunities? How do we encourage them to value themselves, find their value?
Well, my mom always taught me never to compare myself with other girls. You really don't know what they've been through, what they've gone through. You have no right to judge. So that's it. Basically, not to compare. Know that you're unique. There will be women more gorgeous than you, sexier than you.
We might as well make our peace with that,
exactly.
right?
But then there will never be a Charmaine who has all these qualities. So my mommy always called me, baby, just fight. Just fight and be the better version of you. Every day, every moment, make the most out of it. No comparison. At the end of the day, it boils down to you.
I would have to agree because for many of us, both men, I can speak for my gender, because that's also a reality. What hinders us from pushing ourselves and excelling is our inability to accept that there are other people much better than us.
Yeah,
so many.
I think I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think one of our biases is we always compare ourselves to people who are worse off than us.
Right.
So when I see someone more successful than me, I aspire to be that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to bring that person down. Like I want to be you. Like
Yes,
how do I
yes,
how to be you, po? You know,
Yes,
like
yes,
how
yes.
how can I morph myself
Correct, yeah.
with still being me, but at the same time, how do I follow in your footsteps? Now I can be the successful person that you are. So surround yourself with more successful people than you, because you are the sum total of what the closest 3 or 5 people that you interact with on a daily basis.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and in relation to that, as they say, if you are the most intelligent person in the room, maybe
You're in the wrong room.
you're in
Just
the wrong room. You're in the wrong room.
fast.
What about you? How do we make women with far less privileges than you have to value themselves or find their value, realize their value?
you see, that's where civic organizations like Zugbuana, our club, steps in, and other clubs of tantamount advocacies and values that we adhere to. People are less educated, so we educate them. We are of privilege, well, not so much privilege, but a little bit privilege, because we've got the education, we've got the background, we've got the connections and a little means to help sustain their growth. It's about reaching out to the community. It's about honing skills, so they would be self-reliant. We would teach them skills, and later on, when they feel that, oh, somehow we are empowered because we learned something new, let's generate this into an income sufficient way to sustain the family. And then they would feel that self-respect, and they would feel that relevance at home, and then they would feel this social significance, and this kind of empowerment would somehow alleviate their suffering financially and economically, and bring about and step up their family lives. And I think that we are doing a great job, and I think that we need more people to help with our cause. You know?
I have to say, very nice segue to JCI Zugbuana. But all of you, of course, are members of JCI Zugbuana. Before I ask and before we talk about the club itself, I'd like to ask, is it a requirement that a member of JCI Zugbuana has to be both accomplished and beautiful? Is it part of the criteria?
Maybe you should. Maybe they should. We always look at the heart. Yeah, that's where the beauty lies.
Yeah.
For as long as they also have that passion to help. For me, getting yourself involved, specifically with the JCI Zugbuana, an all-female chapter, we have something in common. Like we want to grow as well, but at the same time we also want to share. So we actually have this internal and external, area in the structure of the organization. Internal is that we make sure that we have individual growth projects, which is for our members. Again, as off cam a while ago, we were talking about you cannot give what you do not have.
Correct.
So you also have your own journey. And external would be our community outreach projects. So we go to less fortunate communities. As women, we always empower them. We do projects that could somehow inspire not just the women but the community as a whole. So that is why when there was this project, what we call it Istorya ng Pag-asa, I was even really surprised because I got myself involved with it. We had to go to their community and interview them, despite of their being in the sa ilang kawadpon, they were still able to send their children to college, nga sa labada lang, sa inahan, na single, nagibiyaan sa bana. You get, and then we did it in an interview, ubos sa bridge, no? Rapis may lakog sa Padong Sudlon. I didn't even know, I passed there almost every day going to the office. I didn't even know that there's like a small community and mga gagmay nga mga balay nga nagpuyo diha. And it's even bigger there. So when I get to immerse through the organization's projects, you immerse the members into this kind of community, and then you get to also grow. Actually, it's in the genuine giving that you're actually receiving that inspiration, that gratitude, that realization that sometimes I've been ranting and complaining, but hey, look at these people here. So when you immerse yourself in that community, you get inspired, and just when they thought that you're also inspiring them, it's a give and take thing. So they were so happy when they were all given the certificate, when the exhibit actually is still ongoing up to the April 13th of April.
Where is this?
In Robinson's Galleria, second level, Istorya ng Pag-asa. We featured 17 stories, inspirational stories of ordinary Cebuanos, and with the extraordinary stories of hope. Because of course, we can't filter man na may good news, na bad news, balance man kung na yin yang, na good, na bad. That's how it is. So this one, you can find inspirational stories of hope. You go to the exhibit, it will be there until next Friday. And we're so proud that we have partnered it together with Cebu City Government, Office of the Vice President. That is just one of those projects that JCI Zugbuana initiated.
And of course, the Vice President was here to launch the exhibit. You are all leaders in your own rights, in your businesses, in your communities, and now as members of JCI Zugbuana, who do you look up to in the area of service?
I say
Or
Audrey
leadership.
Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
Explain.
Audrey Hepburn. Well, she came from a well-to-do family. Her mother was a baroness of the Netherlands, and then she grew up with a silver spoon, born with a silver spoon. And they've been through war when the Nazis took over, and then they lost everything. And then it was rumored that she was a spy, whatsoever. But point being, when she was discovered to be a model initially and then an actress, she used her strength, her influence, her name to empower especially women and children in South America and Africa. She was commissioned as UNICEF's ambassador in 1988 up to 1993 until she died of cancer. So it really inspired me to somehow work for what I dream to become one day. Like I just want to edify and fill myself with so much goodness, with so much love, with so much generosity, because I have so much love to give. Because there's so much change going on around me that I could change because of my influence, because of the women around me that help me grow and hone me and push me to the limit and just encourage me that, hey, together we can do this. We could just bring about change in the community, and then we could bring the society forward. And this is exactly what inspires me.
Charmaine.
I have to say, my sister Gwen, she has 3 adorable kids, and even if she's a full-time mom, she's able to manage her own law firm together with her husband, and she's a very active member of Kaabag, TMI, and she does all these outreach programs. And how she treats her staff, she has, I think, 30 now. Like everyone, like even the up to the small details of family problems, she always have ears to listen. So it's kind of like, wow, my mom. I'm blessed to have a sister who can actually do this. I'm still single. I have no kid, and like if somebody talks to me about their problems, it's like I'll just give them this credence rather than zoning out somewhere. And for that, I look up to my sister because she gives really sound advice, and I think she reached like a certain level in her life that she's very contented being a mom, like being a businesswoman, and being a gym rat. She even has time to do the gym, and she's like in a whole faceted like that's who I want to be when I'm like 6 years from now. She's 6 years older than me, so
She's who you aspire to be.
yeah. So it's nice to grow up in around somebody who you want to
You have
be.
an excellent role model.
Very.
Bridget, who do you look up to?
So cliche, but I love Oprah.
Thanks.
She grew up with the challenges of racial discrimination. She was overweight, and she managed to overcome all these challenges. And then she created a platform where she could inspire people, inspire women. So now she has the Oprah Winfrey Network, she has Harpo Studios, she has she has book clubs, and she's very passionate about education, which I also am very passionate about. So I love when celebrities use their status to inspire change, to educate people. I think there's like too much noise. Like you're a celebrity and you don't stand for anything other than your celebrity status. But when you're a public figure, but then you use that power, use that influence for the betterment of humanity, I think that's very powerful. Yeah. So Oprah, she's talked to Deepak Chopra, she's talked to various influential figures internationally. So and then when I hear her speak, when I hear her talk, she talks about living a life of gratitude. She talks about letting go, about forgiveness, about focused intention, about the divinity of womanhood and your strength as a person, as a living being in this world. So she goes beyond like just mental cheerleading. She talks to your heart. She talks to your essence as a person, which I love about her.
Yeah, by the way, it's not a cliche.
Is that cliche?
They should do reruns of her show. Oh, so sad she stopped.
On the lighter side, yeah.
That's right.
President Major.
Actually, it's same, no? Oprah Winfrey, but also Angelina Jolie.
Oh,
You know how she started with her career, how she was there. From there, she didn't stop. When she stopped making di na siya mag-make of movie. She was into community service. Like she really go out of her way, even outside America. And then when she adopted these kids from Vietnam, and from different parts of the world, and celebrate their diverse culture and how how she raised them. And of course, with the issue about the partner, and then they separate, she was still really strong. So I look up to her. Of course, aside from the beauty, no, that's why for me we have also this for me, if you maintain a good health, no, and if you maintain also a good branding for yourself, a pleasant look, it's one way to honor your creator.
Yes.
Right. Hindi ka malusyang ba or something, right? Something fancy lang, no? So that, and sa local here, of course, our inspirational speaker during our induction, May Ann.
We also had her in Power Women.
I really was teary-eyed when she shared her story, how she battled cancer, but she didn't stop at that. She actually went out of her way to create an impact into the community. So she has her Rotary, and of course we work together. Even until now, we do lots of love. We donate hair and then make it into wigs, and then we donate it through them because they are the ones who actually have the connection when it comes to donating wigs to the cancer patients. So, Tita Mayan.
Hello, Miss Mayan. Okay, and as much as we'd like to talk for the next 5 hours,
And we can.
our producer is giving us signals. But I'd like you to take this opportunity to give a message to your fellow women and to the men out there.
Sorry. No, you start.
Like that.
Start with the president.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I always, to everyone out there, both men and women, I always believe that life is a journey. No, they say it's short. Actually, nobody knows if life is short or not. But live with the moment. If you feel confused, be still. No, look into your heart. Your heart will never lie to you. It's actually our guidance system. No, it's a gift from up above. I should say that if you have grown because of someone, let someone grow because of you. Don't stop that growth just within you. And be an inspiration. You aspire to inspire. Nobody is really perfect because, we have a different definition of perfect. But as you go along in life, we have different learning curves. Be always an inspiration. And in whatever you do, put your heart into it. Because the heart is the one that guides you, and it has never, somehow we say it has gone wrong, sometimes your love life, keeps you off track. But I tell you, when you want to give, you have to have that first. You have to fill in your love tank so that you can, when you overflow, you can actually share it and you don't feel that you've been depleted with love. So for women out there, love yourself, fill it up so that you can also inspire others by overflowing that love.
Bridget.
I think for me, my message to everyone out there is to live a life of gratitude. It's not difficult for us to wake up each day and say thank you. If you have one thing to be grateful for, that's already a really good thing. Because I think a lot of us, we compare ourselves to so many people in our lives, but we really are our worst competition, our best competition. So walk your path, walk your journey, be genuine, be authentic, find your authentic voice, and wake up and say thank you to Creator, because life is so good, life is so amazing.
Very nice.
Don't say that.
Anyway, to all the women out there, including men, of course, all gay people, tanang mga tumboy, tanang mga bayot, tanang naghikaos liha, kung kinsa mo, know that you are enough. Know that you are loved, and know that you can give so much out of the love that you receive. And it's okay to fail, but fail forward. It's okay nga nagkagkuwang sa inyong kinabuhi. Okay, you work hard to get more of what you want to have. Know who you are, and let others know who you are through what you give. Radiate this energy of love, positivity, and generosity, and you could never go wrong. Whether you are rich or poor, you are important. Whether bright ka or bugo, you are important. You are significant. You can do something for yourself and for the people around you. Listen to those who have failed and who made it. Listen to those who survived. Listen to those who had a hard time living, but then they still choose to rise above their challenges. Listen to those, and you'll be okay. Listen to your heart, be true to your core, and you'll be okay. Keep giving love. Just keep giving, and you'll be okay. You are enough.
Oprah, is that you?
Intense
I
kayo.
know.
Intense kayo, Walker.
Pressure kaysa to part
Go ahead, Charmaine.
Okay. So I think everything has been said, but like everybody else, we all have struggles. And my mom and my dad, basically this is from my dad, there will always be good days and bad days.
Right.
And at the end, it's how you pick yourself up. And when you have bad days, all the more you have to give it like 10,000 more percent to strive harder to get up, because that's what matters. That's what makes who you are. And that's it. And when all things fail, just believe that you did your best, and when you do your best, nothing could go wrong. That's you. So.
Very nice. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you.
Since
Thank
you
you.
were the last to speak, I will give you my hand first.
It's
Thank you
an
very
honor
much.
to be here.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice
you so much. Thank
for
you
you
so
guys
much.
to be here. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And
Thank you.
again,
Thank you for having
to
us. Thank you.
the four of you ladies, happy Women's Month. We should continue.
Happy
celebrating.
Women's Month!
Happy Women's Month!
There you have it, our
Is it
guests
belated?
in
Always, every month alone.
Every day is Women's Day.
Celebrate.
our guests in today's edition of Power Women, of course, the members of JCI Zugbuana. We have their president, Major Abeliana, their members, Bridget Lim, Charmaine Damapos over there, and of course, Josine Arambettic over here. And these are just four of the most accomplished and powerful women in Cebu that you can look up to and find inspiration from. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Jobert Ocao, the online editor of The Freeman, and join us again next time as we continue to pay tribute to women who are not afraid to make a difference. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next time here on The Freeman Conversations.